Hi everyone, my name's Kay Kalthoff and welcome to a Stamping to Share video. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! And today I'm going to share with you how to create this great shaker card. When I was on the cruise this past spring, there was a gal named Erica Serwin from Pink Buckaroo Designs, I believe, and she had the cutest shaker cards, and I took that idea and ran with it, and this is the card that I created. So I would like to share with you how I made it. And also C Street, which is the stamps that we're using, is going to be my stamp of the month next month. And so I'll be starting a new program for a lot of my online customers. So let's go ahead, get started, and we are going to start with a piece of real red cardstock. I've cut it at 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored it at 5 1/2. And then we just need to fold into that score line and set this aside for a minute. The next thing that we're going to need is a inside panel. I have this cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and we are going to be stamping that with the Coastal Cabana. And so I am going to just go ahead, grab the little C stamp here with all the little fishes on it, and we are going to use our Coastal Cabana and just stamp away on that. We are also going to be stamping an octopus, and as long as we're at it, we're going to stamp that as well. So we're just going to make a couple of little stamps, and it doesn't really matter which way you're holding the stamp because these fishes can be going either way. So you can stamp them one way or the other way. Actually, I kind of think I like the fish swimming this way. So now we can go ahead and we can put this into our card. I've got one of my snail dispensers here, and the inside panel of our card is complete. I always like to do the inside panel because what's the first thing that your customers will do, or the recipient of any greeting card does, is they look at the outside, and then 2 seconds later they open it up to see what's on the inside. So I think it's a little disappointing if there's never anything on the inside. The next thing we're going to do is we're just going to set this aside, and we're going to take this circle. And you're probably wondering where this circle came from. If you look on the original card, there are a couple of circles on the outside here to accent the shaker part. And what I did is I just took a scrap of white, and then using my circle framelits from Stampin' Up!, you can see what they look like here. If I can get them out of the packaging. I have them labeled the smooth circles 1 through 9. So I am using the circles 5, 6, and 7. Or is it 5, 6, 7? I'm wondering if I'm missing one. No, not 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry about that. So we're using the 3 framelits, 6, 7, and 8 to make this card. And all of everything gets cut out with the number 6 because that is the size of the hole where our shaker is. So I used a piece of scrap white, and I used 6 and 7 together to make this white rim. Well, that left me with a lot of these white circles, and that's where I've decided to stamp the octopus. And then we'll just cut him out with our scallop circle. So we have the octopus, and I'm inking him up in Coastal Cabana. I'm just going to set him there. Beautiful. And let me grab that punch, and we're just going to punch him out. And we need a bit of a handle because it's hard to hold on to this circle. There's not a lot of room there for me to maneuver the punch, so I'm just putting him on a post-it note, and then I can go in with the scallop circle punch and punch that out with no problems. I'm sure you've done little handles like that when you need a little extra length on your punch outs. So we're just going to set that aside as well, and we are going to put this white circle onto this red circle. So to do that, I am just going to use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue. Now the red circle was created also with a piece of scrap that's real red cardstock, and I used the 6 circle framelit along with 8. So 6 and 7 for this white circle, and then 6 and 8 for the red circle. Okay, and the reason I'm just kind of gluing all this stuff together is to just get it out of the way. And we'll be putting it onto our card in a minute here. And then we have this blue panel. This is Night of Navy, and I have it cut with a 4 1/4 inch square of the navy cardstock. And again, I've run it through the Big Shot machine, and I use the number 6 circle framelit. And so we can now glue this red and white circle feature onto this. And so again, I'm just going to take a little bit of our multi-purpose liquid glue and putting a really skinny line all the way around. We can just set this right on here, and it is glued together and ready to go. Okay, so now we're kind of getting to the point where we need to do the shaker part, which is the part you're all excited about anyway. So let me share what I did. First, we need a base to our shaker. This is just a 4-inch square of the Maritime Designer Series paper. There's some great patterns and colors in there. Just love it. And then we're going to use some Fast Fuse from Stampin' Up! And it's a new adhesive, and I started by making sure that the fuse is at the very end, and then I put it straight down, and I just go all the way around. And rather than, because I'm just going to keep going all the way around, I just do a little turn and continue all the way around. I don't actually lift it up from the paper, I just kind of turn it and go. And I did lift it up there, so now I have to, and see, this kind of spaghetti thing gets going, and then you might be in trouble, so you gotta flick that off and make sure there's none of that going on. And then again, I'm gonna get it started because I have a little spot here that I need to cover up. There we go. All right, and then when you are ready to end it, you just flick it sharply to the right or to the left if you're left-handed. So now we have our fuse all the way around, and the top of our shaker piece is going to be just a piece of Cello. You probably can hardly see this, and I'll show you where I got it from. Now, I used some 6x8 Cello bags that Stampin' Up! Sells, but you could also use the Cello from just about anything. And so we need to put some shaker pieces in there. So I have taken some gold sequins, and I'm going to put those in. And then, setting this aside a little bit here, I am going to use my fringe scissors. You can see this is one of our new products, and we're going to just cut up onto a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock. And the next step, and since I have adhesive on this, I'm going to set this more out of the way because I don't want my little confetti pieces getting over there, so hopefully they won't fly over there. And I'm just going to cut some little squares. So now I'm just cutting crosswise with the fringe scissors, making little squares. And that's going to be our confetti in our shaker card. I'm just going to put a little bit more. A few more fringy, or a few more confetti pieces. And then we can bring the shaker piece back into the picture. And oops, it's tricky when you touch that adhesive, it's very sticky. There we go. So we have our confetti centered into our card, and now I'm just going to take this Cello piece. Whoops, I can't get a hold of it here. And I'm just going to set it all the way around, or set it on here, and then press all the way around, sealing our confetti into this pocket. So it's kind of a pocket shaker. Alright, so you can see the pocket is in there, it's shaking good. And now, because I used Cello that was quite a bit bigger than my piece here, I'm just going to trim that even with the pocket shaker. And we'll just go ahead and trim this up all the way around. Now you could have your Cello the exact same size, and that works too. In fact, that's what I did. But then when I did it with my customers, I was like, ugh, we don't really, you know, it gets kind of tricky to set that on there just perfectly. So I actually prefer to use one that's bigger and then just trim around it afterwards. And so now all we have to do is finish assembling our card. So we're just going to take this Designer Series paper with the fishies on it, and we are going to glue this onto our main card panel here, the front of our card panel. And we're just going to make sure that we have enough of an edge over here that, that it will look good with our overall design. If you notice the overall design, we have a little bit of red showing off to the right, so we want to make sure we have room for that. And then here is our piece that will accentuate the shaker. I'm going to bring, oh, I don't think I can bring it over anymore. Well, we'll have a little bit more of a red strip here. That's okay. So we're going to glue this now onto our card. And let's see, we'll just put this right here. And then all that we need to do is glue on the octopus. So this is already ready. So then we're going to glue our little octopus down here. But before I do that, I want to add some pretty gold baker's twine. So I'm just going to open this up. We're just going to wrap this around twice. I can do this here. There we go. And then I'm just going to grab a scissors, trim this off, and we're just going to make a nice little knot right on the inside. I don't want to detract from the outside. There's already a lot going on the outside, so I think I'm going to keep my knot to the inside. But it doesn't matter. I mean, you could certainly have your knot to the outside. There we go. And then I'm just going to trim this nice and close. And we have our, oh, isn't that nice? Our gold baker's twine just adds so much to this card. And then I've got a couple of dimensionals here that we can put our octopus on. I think about 3. Gives that circle some nice stability. And I'm going to take these little peelies off, and then our card is done. So let's put him right here. And isn't that just so sweet? So here we go. Here's one shaker card. That's fun, just to shake it around a little bit. And here's the original. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Have a great day. Thanks so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. I truly appreciate you. Bye-bye.